I drove alone to an old mansion in the wilderness. I received a call from a strange man. He said they needed a caregiver here. I nervously knocked on the door, but no one responded. The chair beside me slowly started rocking. I pushed open the door and found the place empty. Old music echoed through the room. The entire house got cold and eerie. The elderly couple, my employers, were in the backyard. The person who contacted me was their lawyer, Matt. Not long ago, Jack had a stroke in his attic, leaving him paralyzed and unable to speak. The doctor said he only had about a month left to live. My job was to provide him with palliative care. They had hired a few caregivers before, but Amy wasn't satisfied with any of them. She gave me a meaningful look, then silently walked to the side, whispering to Matt. Clearly, she wasn't happy with me either. Matt could only tell Amy that it was hard to find a suitable candidate. Their conversation made it clear that they shared a very close bond. Amy finally shook her head, agreeing to let me stay, but her words filled me with doubt. This house seemed off. Matt told me that making money was the priority. I looked around the house and noticed something strange. There wasn't a single mirror in the entire place. Yet, the marks on the walls clearly showed where mirrors once hung. They had all been taken down. Then things started getting really weird. While I was taking care of Jack as he slept, the paralyzed man suddenly grabbed my hand. I panicked and struggled, but his eyes were full of fear. At that moment, Amy entered and gave him some medicine. Jack quickly withdrew his hand, acting like nothing had happened, and swallowed the liquid Amy gave him. Later, Amy took me on a tour of the house. She handed me a key, telling me it could open every door in the house. I asked about the mirrors, and she explained that, at her age, she didn't need them anymore, and she returned to her room. The next morning, Amy went outside to tend to the garden. She asked me to go to the attic stairs to find a packet of seeds. I unlocked 2 doors with the key, but before I could pick up the seeds on the floor, I heard a sound from the other side of the room. 2 boxes at the far end of the room were shaking uncontrollably. When I moved them, I discovered a hidden door behind them. It seemed like something was inside. I grabbed the key, ready to open the door, but suddenly, the room door slammed shut, and a gust of wind blew from behind me. I hurried downstairs with the seeds, but my thoughts kept drifting back to what had just happened. I was startled when Amy suddenly appeared. I quickly asked her why the master key didn't work on the door in the attic. She dismissed it with a few vague words, saying she had never noticed that room before. Then she changed the subject. I went to bed, full of confusion, when suddenly there was a loud crash from upstairs. The sound came from Jack's room. I opened the door and found he was gone. Panicking, I rushed to the window and saw Jack struggling through the pouring rain. I screamed for him to stop, but he turned to look at me, his eyes filled with terror. Then, as if driven by madness, he crawled forward desperately. In one motion, he fell from the roof. I screamed and rushed downstairs after him, but Jack was desperately trying to push me away. Amy hurriedly told me to get the wheelchair. When I entered his room, I found a bedsheet on the floor with the words "Save me" written on it.